Part 1. The Tyranny of Chronos. Diagnosing your time slavery. Welcome to Shadow Psychology. You stand at the edge of a profound realization about one of modern humanity's greatest illusions, the management of time. For decades, you've been taught to fight against time, to manage it, to optimize it, to squeeze every last drop of productivity from its relentless flow. Gurus have sold you calendars, apps have promised you efficiency, and society has measured your worth by your ability to keep pace with the ticking clock. Today, we declare war on this enslavement. Through Nietzsche's radical philosophy, we will expose how the very concept of time management has become the ultimate instrument of human domestication. What if your relationship with time is the clearest reflection of your psychological enslavement? Nietzsche would recognize modern time management as what he called the spirit of gravity, that heavy weight that crushes your creative potential under the burden of schedules and deadlines. While you race against the clock, desperately trying to find time for what matters, you're actually losing the most precious resource of all, your will to power. The common approach treats time as a limited commodity to be allocated, but Nietzsche reveals it as the very fabric of your becoming, the arena where you either actualize your highest self or surrender to mediocrity. Consider how society programs us for temporal obedience from childhood. School bells regiment our days, work schedules dictate our lives, and digital notifications fragment our attention into manageable slices. This systematic conditioning creates what psychologists call time anxiety, the constant, low-grade panic that you're falling behind, missing out, or not achieving enough. Nietzsche would diagnose this as the ultimate herd mentality, the synchronization of human consciousness to artificial rhythms that serve systems of control rather than individual flourishing. Your smartphone isn't just a device, it's a temporal leash, constantly pulling your attention toward what the system values rather than what you truly will. Your awakening begins with the temporal autopsy, a fearless examination of how you currently relate to time. For 1 week, track not just how you spend your hours, but the qualitative experience of each moment. Notice when you feel rushed versus fully present. Identify activities that make time seem to fly versus those that make it drag. Most importantly, observe when you're acting from genuine purpose versus merely responding to external demands. The patterns that emerge will shock you. You'll discover that much of what you call being productive is actually a sophisticated form of avoidance, keeping you too busy to confront the terrifying freedom of directing your own existence. The transformation starts when you stop asking, "How can I manage my time better?" and begin demanding, "How can I become the master of my attention and energy?" This shift from external time to internal will represent the first step toward what Nietzsche called self-overcoming in the temporal realm. The weak see time as a scarce resource to be hoarded. The strong recognize it as the canvas upon which they paint their destiny. Your relationship with time isn't about efficiency. It's about sovereignty. Most time management systems teach you to become a better slave to the clock. We're teaching you to become the creator of your own rhythms. The death of chronological anxiety isn't the end of productivity, it's the birth of authentic power. If you're ready to shatter the tyranny of the clock and reclaim your temporal sovereignty, this journey continues. The most dangerous revolutions begin not with changing what we do with our time, but with transforming who we are in each moment. Part 2. Amor, Fati, and Temporal Alchemy. Loving every moment. The conventional approach to time teaches us to fight against moments we perceive as wasted. The traffic jam that ruins our schedule, the unexpected interruption that derails our productivity, the quiet evening that feels empty and unproductive. Nietzsche offers a radical alternative. Amor Fati, the unconditional love of one's fate, applied directly to our relationship with time. This is not passive resignation to the flow of minutes and hours, but an active, willed embrace of every moment as necessary and perfect in the symphony of your becoming. Where the time management slave sees obstacles and delays, the temporal alchemist recognizes raw material for transformation. Most people operate on what could be called conditional time acceptance. They love moments of achievement and progress, but resist periods of waiting, struggle, or apparent stagnation. The Nietzschean approach requires loving the full spectrum of your temporal experience. That hour spent in unexpected traffic? Love it as an opportunity for reflection. The project delay that frustrates your plans? Love it as a chance to develop patience and reconsider your approach. The quiet Sunday afternoon with no pressing tasks? Love it as sacred space for your mind to wander and create without agenda. This isn't positive thinking, it's temporal alchemy, the conscious transmutation of chronological lead into golden moments of presence and meaning. Practice begins with what I call temporal Amor Fati, a daily ritual of embracing your relationship with time exactly as it manifests. Each evening, review your day and identify 3 moments that felt like wasted time or temporal failures. For each one, perform this alchemical operation. Ask, what strength did this moment demand I develop? What depth did it force me to discover? How is this exact experience, which I initially resisted, actually perfect for my growth? The commute you resented becomes training in patience. The canceled meeting becomes space for unexpected creativity. The administrative task you dreaded becomes practice in mindfulness. You're not changing the facts of how time passed, but transforming your relationship to those facts. The ultimate expression of temporal Amor Fati comes through applying Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence to your daily experience. Ask yourself, if I had to live this exact day with these same time usage patterns and unexpected interruptions for eternity, what meaning would I need to assign to each moment to make this fate not just bearable, but glorious? This question forces a profound shift from seeing time as something to be managed to seeing it as the very substance of your eternal self-creation. The weak try to control time. The strong learn to love its every manifestation, recognizing that even what appears as temporal failure contains the seeds of transcendence. This philosophical approach solves the paradox of modern time anxiety. We feel both constantly busy and deeply unproductive, both rushed and stagnant. The solution isn't better scheduling, but deeper acceptance. When you stop fighting the flow of time and start loving its every curve and current, you discover that what you called wasted time was actually the universe's way of forcing you to confront essential truths about your priorities and values. The energy you currently expend resisting temporal reality could be powering your most meaningful work. The transformation continues as we move from fighting time to dancing with it, from seeing moments as commodities to experiencing them as opportunities for eternal self-creation. The weak see interruptions as threats to their schedule. The alchemist recognizes them as unexpected deliveries of raw material for transformation. Your relationship with time is waiting to be redeemed through the profound power of unconditional acceptance. The journey from chronological anxiety to temporal ecstasy requires not better tools, but a more courageous heart. Part 3. The Übermensch's daily structure beyond schedules. Most productivity systems focus on creating rigid schedules and compartmentalizing your life into neat blocks of time. The Nietzschean approach rejects this mechanical view entirely. The Übermensch doesn't follow a schedule, they embody a rhythm. This is the crucial difference between external imposition and internal flow. While the average person struggles to maintain their calendar, the sovereign individual moves through their day with the natural grace of a predator moving through its territory. Aware, intentional, and perfectly aligned with their environment and purpose. Your current relationship with time likely oscillates between two poles, chaotic reactivity and rigid over-planning. The Übermensch transcends this dichotomy by developing what ancient philosophers called Kairos, the ability to recognize and act at the perfectly opportune moment. This isn't about checking tasks off a list, but about sensing when your energy, the environment, and the task itself are in perfect alignment. That creative work you force yourself to do at 9 a.m. might flow effortlessly at midnight. The difficult conversation you avoid all week might resolve itself naturally when you stop trying to schedule it. The secret isn't better planning, but deeper listening to the rhythm of your own will to power. Practical implementation begins with energy mapping rather than time blocking. For 1 week, track not what you do each hour, but the quality of energy you bring to each activity. You'll discover patterns. Perhaps your critical thinking peaks in the late morning, your creativity surges in the afternoon, and your capacity for deep connection emerges in the evening. The Übermensch structures their day around these natural energy flows, assigning tasks not based on arbitrary deadlines, but on energetic appropriateness. Administrative work during energy lulls, creative work during peaks, strategic thinking during transitions. This is how you turn time from an enemy into an ally. The conventional productivity model tries to make you consistent, the same performance level at all times. The Nietzschean model celebrates what might be called productive inconsistency, the recognition that great work requires periods of intense focus followed by deliberate restoration. The 8-hour workday is a factory concept designed for interchangeable workers, not sovereign individuals. The Übermensch might work with furious intensity for 3 hours, then spend 2 hours walking in nature, then return to work with renewed insight. This irregular rhythm isn't laziness, it's the natural pulse of genius that conventional systems try to medicate into conformity. The ultimate test of your daily structure comes from applying Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence. At the end of each day, ask, if I had to live this exact day with this same rhythm and energy flow for eternity, would I choose it? The answer will guide you toward designing days that don't just accomplish tasks, but express your highest values and deepest nature. The weak seek productivity. The strong seek days worth repeating forever. This is the final transformation from seeing your day as a container to fill to experiencing it as a masterpiece to create. Part 4. Eternal recurrence in planning. The ultimate test. What if every plan you made, every goal you set, every project you started had to be lived out infinitely? This is the power of applying Nietzsche's eternal recurrence to your planning process. Most people set goals based on external measures of success, money, status, achievement. But the Nietzschean planner asks a more dangerous question. Is this a project I would joyfully recommit to day after day, for all eternity. This single filter eliminates 90% of conventional goals and reveals a path aligned with your deepest will to power. Traditional planning focuses on the what and how, but eternal recurrence planning starts with the why of cosmic significance. That business you want to build, would you found it again and again? That career you're pursuing, would you choose it eternally? That relationship you're investing in, would you willingly repeat every moment? This isn't poetic metaphor, it's the ultimate prioritization tool. When you apply this lens, trivial pursuits fall away, and only what truly matters remains. You stop planning for a successful life and start designing a life worth repeating forever. Practical application begins with what I call eternity mapping. Take your 5 most important goals and subject each to the eternal recurrence test. For each goal, visualize the daily reality of pursuing it, not the highlight reel of achievement, but the mundane moments, the struggles, the compromises. Would you willingly relive that daily experience infinitely? The goals that survive this test aren't necessarily easier or more pleasant, but they resonate with what Nietzsche called your higher self. They're the projects that make suffering meaningful and effort sacred. This approach transforms procrastination from a character flaw into philosophical wisdom. When you find yourself avoiding a task, don't ask, "How can I motivate myself?" Instead, ask, "If I had to do this task every day forever, what would need to change about either the task or my approach to make it worthy of eternity?" Often, the answer reveals that you're working on the wrong thing or working in the wrong way. Procrastination becomes your soul's rebellion against investing your eternal moments in unworthy endeavors. The ultimate planning principle emerges. Design projects and systems you'd be proud to iterate forever. The weak plan for finite achievements, the strong design for infinite meaning. Your calendar becomes not a record of appointments, but a collection of eternal moments. Each activity, each meeting, each hour invested in creating a life so magnificent that its endless repetition would be a blessing, not a curse. This is the final liberation from superficial productivity, when every item on your to-do list becomes a brick in the cathedral of your eternal self. Part 5. Time Sovereignty Protocol, Mastering Your Temporal Domain. The journey culminates not in another productivity system, but in a fundamental rewriting of your relationship with time itself. This is where philosophy becomes physiology, where Nietzsche's principles transform from abstract concepts into lived reality. The Time Sovereignty Protocol isn't about managing hours. It's about claiming your rightful position as the absolute ruler of your temporal domain. Most people approach time as tenants in someone else's property, constantly asking for permission, making rent payments in attention and obedience. The sovereign individual recognizes they own the land. Every second, every minute, every hour is their absolute property to invest or waste as they choose. Your first act of sovereignty begins with what I call temporal declaration. Each morning, before checking devices or engaging with external demands, stand in silent authority over your day. Declare to yourself, "This day is my creation. These hours are my property. Every moment will serve my will to power." This is an affirmation. It's the psychological equivalent of planting your flag in the territory of your attention. The common person's day happens to them. The sovereign's day happens through them. This minute of conscious claiming does more to transform your relationship with time than any scheduling app or productivity technique. The protocol continues with the practice of energy banking. Recognize that attention is the currency of sovereignty, and every interruption is a withdrawal from your account. Most people live in permanent overdraft, their attention constantly hijacked by notifications, others' agendas, and artificial emergencies. The sovereign individual builds fortifications around their focus, not through harsh rigidity, but through elegant boundaries that turn away everything that doesn't serve their highest purpose. That email can wait. That meeting is unnecessary. That urgent demand is someone else's poor planning. Each time you protect your attention, you compound your temporal wealth. The most radical element is the embrace of strategic neglect. Conventional time management tries to help you do everything. Sovereignty recognizes that most things aren't worth doing at all. Apply Nietzsche's eternal recurrence test to every commitment. If I had to do this weekly for eternity, would it still seem important? The weak fear missing out. The strong deliberately miss what doesn't matter. This creates what appears to others as magical productivity, but it's really just the natural result of investing all your resources in what truly aligns with your will to power. The transformation completes when you stop measuring your days by productivity and start measuring them by power. Did today make you stronger, more resilient, more aligned with your highest values? Did you move closer to becoming who you're destined to be? The sovereign individual doesn't track tasks completed, they track consciousness expanded. They don't count hours worked, they measure will expressed. This is the final evolution from time manager to temporal artist, from schedule follower to rhythm creator, from clock watcher to eternity weaver. Your mastery is complete when you look at the clock not with anxiety but with curiosity, not how much time have I lost, but what eternal meaning can I create in this moment? The weak see time as sand slipping through their fingers. The sovereign recognizes they are the hand holding the hourglass. This isn't the end of your journey with time, it's the beginning of your eternal conversation with possibility.